Hey guys, it's Eleanor. Today I wanted to share with you some SSO theories that I have scrapped. There are different reasons as to why these theories were scrapped. Some turned out to be wrong and some just didn't really make sense. But anyway, let's jump into it. Theory number 1. Katja is the Ice Witch. This is an interesting one actually, and it goes like this. The Ice Witch in Isendal, in which is described by Nic Stoneground through dialogue, is none other than Katja. This makes sense because we know that Katja has magical abilities, which to normal Jorvikians easily can be seen as witchcraft. It is really fitting for her to be named the Ice Witch because she's the only character that's literally all white. The portal we can see inside of Isendal looks a lot like the portals connected to Darkcore and the main story quests. Have we ever even seen other portals in the game? This is a sign that it has something to do with them, or specifically with Katja. This theory was scrapped because I realized how random it was. There was barely any evidence at all, and there are so many other characters that are just as likely as Katja to be the Ice Witch. And considering that we actually have witches in the game, I don't really think a Dark Rider would pass as one of them. The point I was making about Katja being all white was a pretty strange argument, and it doesn't really apply anymore either, because her new outfit is in fact not white. Although her looking similar to the Coulters may actually be just as much of a hint. Theory number 2. Catherine is Nic Stoneground's fridge. Yeah, I know that sounds pretty silly, but this was way back when we had only just heard Catherine's name and knew nothing more about her. Let me read this theory for you. Nic Stoneground's fridge, which has been described through dialogue as lifelike, is in fact none other than Catherine. The fridge seems to be from Pandoria with its magical traits and purple stars floating about, similar to other Pandoria characters such as Fripp and Idris. Nic tells us early on that he believes that it isn't just a fridge, but something more, something important. My first thought after this description is that the fridge is not something, but someone. The question is whether or not we know of any characters whose soul or consciousness could have been transferred to the fridge somehow. For some time, this might as well have been Anne. However, as of recent quests, we know that Anne has returned to us safe and sound, and the fridge still remains. But with these quests, we were also introduced to a new character that could fit very well into this theory. Catherine! Elizabeth and Evergrey introduce us to Catherine through a dialogue where they argue about safety. Something has happened to this Catherine in the past, we just don't know what yet. Given that she was more than likely part of the Keepers of Aideen, this something could very possibly have something to do with Pandoria. Honestly, this theory didn't actually sound too far-fetched after all. I still kind of believe that the fridge is alive somehow, but I'm pretty sure that it's not Catherine. The further into the story we get, the less this makes sense. So yeah, not Catherine. Hopefully we'll get some more information about this fridge in the future. Theory number 3. The Soul Riders grew up. This was a theory I made in order to cope with and get used to the updated Soul Riders. It's pretty simple. The old and new Soul Riders are the exact same characters, but the reason that they have changed is that they grew up. This made sense because we knew that there was a time gap between the original games and SSO, and people do change a lot in their teenage years. So to me, this was a perfectly good explanation to their new looks and personalities. Except that it wasn't. It soon became clear that there were things that didn't align with their backstories. Some of the changes were pretty much biologically impossible, and SSO treated them as if they'd been like this all along. And then of course, they started rewriting the backstory. So yeah, the Soul Riders are not the same after all. And that really sucks because it means that the character and story development that has built this franchise for the past 15 years has all gone to waste. I am pretty passionate about this, so I'm sorry if I sound super naggy about the Soul Riders. It's not like it's the first time I talk about this. Theory number 4. The Miscreants' true identity. We've all heard about the Miscreants, and yet nobody knows their true identities. I'm really hoping for this to become a big reveal sometime in the future, and it would be really cool to make a proper theory about who they are. I did used to have this idea that it was secretly the Soul Riders, or possibly Lisa's old band. I didn't really have much evidence, but it was the little things that gave me this idea. The fact that they're 4 girls and that they got this horse thing going on really made me draw the connection towards the Soul Riders. And besides, Lisa still used to be a rock star in canon, so she could be one of the members, right? But when I thought harder about this, I found it unlikely for the other Soul Riders to be in a band, especially a punk rock band. As for it being Lisa's old band, I came to realize that Lisa was famous from that band and the Miscreants are anonymous, so it doesn't really add up. Also, if anything, she was probably touring with her band from Star Academy called the Flaming Quartet, which could be a possible explanation to the Star Academy characters making a comeback. Regardless, my theory was wrong, and I still don't know who the Miscreants are. Maybe we'll figure it out one day. Theory number 5. Mystic Valley is Northern Jorvik. This was such a big mess. It started out with a rumor that Ryan was referring to Mystic Valley when talking about Northern Jorvik. I was supposed to make a video about this and you guys even voted for it, so I felt really bad when all of my evidence went down the drain and I had basically nothing left to work with. Long story short, I found some codes in the game files that sounded a lot like they had something to do with Northern Jorvik. One said North Entry and another said Northerner. Pretty cool, right? With Ryan subtly talking about this place and questioning the location names Northern Mountain Range and North Link, I found myself convinced that Northern Jorvik and Mystic Valley were the same thing, despite that not making sense according to the full map of Jorvik. Surely, the team must have changed the map along the way, right? But as it turned out, it didn't actually make sense. There was also a south entry in the game files, meaning that the north entry probably wasn't an entry to the north like I originally thought. And the northerner code was an audio code, so it doesn't actually have anything to do with the people in the north. I also realized that the team had released a map of southwest Jorvik in the Soul Riding books, meaning that Northern Jorvik was off that map. This basically crushed the whole theory. I went a lot back and forth after this, and I found that I had lost track completely. Nothing I said made sense anymore, and I felt like I was just making things up for the sake of having something to show you guys. It was a short and messy video that didn't really have a point to it, so I finally decided to scrap it all together. Honestly, I think it was a good move for me to scrap the video, because you guys probably had your hopes up for this big reveal about Northern Jorvik, and then I'm just like, sorry guys, we're not getting anything. You'd be set up for disappointment, and that's really not something I want. But yeah, Northern Jorvik has nothing to do with Mystic Valley. I'm sorry guys. So that's it guys, those were 5 theories that I've scrapped throughout my years on SSO. Do you think I was right to scrap them all, or did some of them have potential? Let me know in the comments. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'll see you around. Bye!